Imperial Junior. Now, last month, ZCCM Investments Holdings signed a deal to take full ownership of the Mopani copper mines in Zambia by acquiring the remaining 90% stake from Glencore's subsidiary, that's Kalisa Investments, in a transaction worth 1.5 billion. The deal put to rest the tension between Glencore and the Zambian government over Mopani's operation. The deal is funded by the debt provided by Kalisa Investment and also other members of the Glencore Group. Upon closing of the sale, Glencore will retain off-taking rights pertaining to copper production from the mines until the transaction date has been fully paid. And in one of the interviews, ZCCM RH Chief Executive Officer Maputo Chipata says Glencore will be collecting 80% of the copper sales over the next 10 to 17 years in order to pay off the 1.5 billion US dollars Mopani copper mines owes its parents. Mines Minister Richard Musukwa says 15,000 miners were going to lose their jobs. Critics say this is a mere political move by government because it is an election year. But government says the move is a business formula and it is aimed at safeguarding jobs in the mining sector. The critics are also saying, why should a country which is in so much debt acquire another debt of 1.5 billion US dollar? But government says Mopani has the capacity to pay back the 1.5 billion US dollars. Is this a business or a political move to ask for votes as we head towards the general elections? This is a question being asked. My name is Kennedy Mbero Jr. once again, and joining me in the studio are two permanent secretaries. I have Mr. Barnaby Mlenga coming from permanent secretary under the Ministry of Mines, and Mr. Chanda Kazia under the Ministry of Labor. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure having you on Radio Chamberlain. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to urge you to be as flexible as you can so that we touch a wider audience, especially when it comes to language. So you are free to use even each member. So to begin with, you can kindly explain. I'll start with you, Mr. Mlenga. You can kindly explain the deal in simple terms we've been hearing. Walipoka abantu bale mfo ino kwa nomba pinch to shala wa maute kubwa senda festa chali bakali fo shala bana ina na shinushku. So bakaba tibengo mfukishana barako tabale chumfu ikishana kumfomo enkongo bakati nabaiko Mopani baipokele pankongole ishosho tukalabwesha pamyaka from 10 to 17 years. So therefore from chilo very simple attempts for 20.7 kwenye chumfu ikisha.
Okay, thank you Mkwai. Kwena iliashi kuli understand bwino yatangire mu 2020 mwaka wa 2000. It's important to remind abantu kwebati intention even in 2020 tapali achawe kwala bati okusenda Mopani nawe iye abali ba majority shareholder ni ba Glencore abene ebashire ku government pa 7 April 2020 nokusaiba kwebati ko tulefo okubika mining pa care and maintenance bambewe nga mumfat care and maintenance china chicho care and maintenance chalo lele mkwebati baleba balapene pa 7 April. But abantu bonse bayikumayanda amachito yapwe babalipile nokwamba kyokola pumping yamenshi kufuma mu mugodi care and maintenance. So ubiko bwakana nokwebati nombanga mwatuma abantu over 15,000 people bayikumayanda baleke okufola. What does that do for a town like Kitwe na Mufulira? They are dependent on mining activities in terms of economic activity in my district side. So if a number quali kulandishanya and you quali kulandishanya kwa investigation now they made it clear that vale fwayo kuya la Glencore. So ilo number quali kwambo kwikala panisho kulandishanya kwa chinomba ngatamule fwaya okweba timu chite continue kuchitamai shetu mwasubinisha ati ba ZCCM abo ba ZCCM babalembeye okwebisho okweba shetu mwasubinisha ati ba ZCCM ebo bakwati because basiswa kwete 10% that mwasubinisha ba ZCCM baba majority so that gabakwata majority stake ba ZCCM maybe tiba making sure ati production yashita continue efo bayeberebena after babalembera bayisayina down. In fact, 25 okushala minority. 25 okushitisha fyonzi. 90% fyonzi 25 okushitisha. If your number, what you want to discuss from around July until Bambewe, when finally an agreement was done. Now, the agreement, it's important to have abantu options here. Bantu, any responsible government would not take you ilekeresha abantu babo. Abantu bagomba kumupani na abantu bashita depend on business kuli mupani bena Zambia. Abakweba ati there's no way government ingabalekeresha. What you had are three options. One option was to agree with them and say, oh, mlebo kuchisala. Chisale. Gamwa chisala achimainiti. Ero nishikola bafya chulu chelo. Abantu bale pumping bafya bale funya. Is that what we would have wanted? Mambewe, it's important to kusambira kufya chitikakani. Twalipangilepo mistake for Zambians. Kulwansha. What mistake did we make? Luansha is capable point where a decision needed to be made. A decision was made to say Lekeni Pali care and maintenance. As we are speaking now, the Luansha mine is flooded. Yeah, river flooded that it is not economical to pump out the water anymore. And based on that, Luansha just struggle to recover. So government therefore was alive. That mistake of kulekeresha ati mine ibe on care and maintenance mukulenga ati abantu no baba batamfya amachito, that won't happen. That is why option number one was not agreed to. Option number two, yali yakweba ati okay, since balefo kuyaba abantu and it's like umuntu alefo kuba eolech run business talifwaya ukuta continue alefo kuya imo mulemwe bawe ikala iwe ndani issue leila. The other option was to say, okay, Kabie, to ala chivulafi, and to pele na nguimo Kabie. If you beta or nangu to ala pele mpia na ngushani, oyo beta mulo baita ni mwati compounds and acquisition. Where mwa chivulafi and where we exchange so since chamu Zambia. Number, ukie ruti over bewe. Problem ya abapo ne ruti is the fact that ino country yalikuwa tama systems. Ino country is a country of laws, and all we also seke lemonechin bala butukila kuma courts of law. Elo ama courts of law bala kita protect ama rights ya abantu. So based on that ngabali tuchitasu muno Mzambia na kufyalo kumbi ukweba aba ba government ba poka fyechi upoka fyata au pala poka fye kubonfya maka. The option na yena is not a good option because what it does is that in the process kula kanga na kuma court. Now kuma court, as you know, Bambewe, it's not a case of if of ama parties who determine the outcome. The outcome kuma court niba court ba judge eba land nefya lachitika. Nama date zero fika poa niba judge ba land. Now when you have a situation where abantu bali about to losing ama jobs and that level of uncertainty, you don't want that uncertainty. What you want is to assure people. The third option was to negotiate, Bambeo. And in this particular case, we sat down, no kushita negotiate, naba glengo, what can we do? One of the first things which we got to quickly learn is the fact that in Congole, shali 4.7, almost $4.8 billion, which bali kongweshe ama company bali peren pia kuli mopani eyo ba bonfi tokusu starting kama shafts kwa mama shaft ya tatwa ya new skin bali chitafuti na chi concentrate icha bonfi ya mining echo ba kula. Now what happened then now was a situation where you then have to say okay, so kulishin Kongole. So now there was a negotiation from 4.7 yapo kwa vaisa pa 4 vaisa pa 3 paka finally we managed to fika pa 1.5 billion ukushibweshe nkongolesho. Ero nomba kwa isa but the sale price will just be $1 because of young Kongole. And then lastly, in terms of how do you pay off wishing Kongole, but the bale bomba abantu bale to produce copper kubonfyapo babonfyapo 10% of it kulipirire Nkongole. So nga twachitamane lyabale chitamane, let's say mwachitamane 100 kg just as a simple example, mwabula po 10 kg mwalipira towards Nkongole pake Nkongole ikapwe, but with an option that if mwasange mpia or if right now the copper price is doing very well, right now it by 8,400 and almost 8,400 per ton. So the 10% therefore differs in terms of copper price they are able to pay back as quickly as possible. So what I would say therefore is the fact that was the general background of the issue, and where we are today. On 19 January, we signed a share purchase agreement, which is an agreement between the ZCCM and Kalisa, which moved our shares 100% number ya ZCCM. However, it's important to kulondolola abantu that process yonse ikapapa 31 March 2021, because what happens after sign a filia taila apwililika transaction pandu kwaliba ma approvals which are supposed to be done kwaliba, for example, the competition commission CCPC kwaliba kupoka approval from Kumines, the Minister of Mines bafile bachita approve, the Zambia Revenue Authority bafile bachita approve, kwaliba ma approvals ya pali ba board ama shareholders ayapusana to make sure that this, because ZCCM is a listed company, Lusaka Stock Exchange, there are rules that follow in terms of how an acquisition like this must be done. So when all those approvals are supposed to be completed by 31st of March 2021, meaning pali no understand, it's important to bambeo. Pali no understand, there are a number of people na mukitu na mufulira bale ipusha chomba ichintu nga bali bola. Nisho the vile monika phenomenal and the no kumona zinu kushibali take over or not. So pali no understand. What is happening is that the majority shareholder right now are in charge until 31st of March 2021. So from first Pali no ever in charge of the asset until Yonsama processes yapa. But 1st April, then that's when number ZCCM will formally take over Fion's inquiry.
Okay. Maybe we have an addition to make Makazia.
How mwalishi waifu nchitwe yaba kuwa wonfi neshobaraikara lelo ifine balondera ifuti.
Okay.
Tachipiti abapushire muna mukamu kwa ifine balande ifuti.
Okay.
Kwebati ama interest sana nepa kuishibati imyeo shabantu mukopa shaba protect bantu kulanda ifimbi ngakapari fimbi fyachitike kumuvyo mukangarume fire bachirila ndetwa puka pa mukangarume bantu cheso yento na topo pa mukangarume ifunde na liyasa imati okay tuma pa mukangarume nomba mfire mwachitike ino masanga limo chashupo kuchitike echo kwali ndi kusende option baranda ba PS.
Let me learn to appear na mabedi ba Ministry of Labor makama. Mwale mona aba consequence ku bale bashupa yoto wala chibike fito wale kala feto ndolo aba bonfina kubayilisha nya see we were not getting enough or adequate response which Ministry of Labor to safeguard the interest of the miners kumupani, to safeguard the interest of even other worker miners mines here.
Echo mufwe mweshiba ba Ministry of Labor wala bali limited mu trade unions because amakane nsambo shakwimina number 1 shopa ima trade unions. If you msanga waba umuzi waba numao waba umuzi waba na bambi baya emenso yaba bonfi echo abonfi badipilira kuri bali abantu kwati bayimina ko ababonfi elo bali bombeshu yekalamba sana bali bombeshu yekalamba ndesura mu alwese kono host na ma processes ya lechitika bale shiba no buteko bulashita inform ama trade unions because ama issue to do with ama terms and conditions of employment. Government they decide upper the trade union. Trade union sit down to manage it because baranda ati wekele musambali ya chimu champundu champundu yeah. So aba bonfi eba balira first ngabaya bukwata mo problems na bali abantu elo baisa elo mbo buteko twayingira efira musango kwebati kuno kubigodi kwa definitive tumoto tuchitiko twa mines efira muri mfano buteko nda tawe gatwaronesha futu ana mines mto paka sector based minimum wage ukureba ati ule bomba mu migodi afirambira apa kufuna
tafichitikete
namba problem tekwa befundira so femwe mfati twapanga sector minimum wage kuli ma general workers kuma domestic workers kuma shop workers kuma transport workers na mamaina mwene factory so the stage by stage mulisa pano pantu nishwa kushusha ugwanda kingola umuntu osole mu mugodi tekyafu likwe panje pali no chitakula bati bamfwana kumbali nombali moli muchine ngokufana kumbali pati kubuli lwenchito so muntu ngabuli lwenchito wangu bantu bamubepo bambo kumpero tuno nishale bombo mayibiru nishale bapoke mpieshi kitana kumayi so na yeneyo is something is one thing that we are working on with bama trade unions na my employers babe na babe ngisha abantu nabe na ifeto la beta eka nabo panshi na workers na buteko batira mu sector eni fichitika kanshi turefo kubike bino mweja
ngo chimuna kwenusha mwasekela mu amalipiro ya kwacha womba mu mali balengela underground ekoti nawe yakunganda na wala nokulati banetu wala samana limbingana lapho ere pa underground basa kumpera fembe ma change lero bana bali kuntanshi abashingira nafana ababumbira pa surface abashona underground yo Monica ebalenda mone ebale kwata na weekend allowance ebale kwata na fimbi ebale kwata na fimbi lero ne mone mbeu ne ule ingira para no kumukoti I do the donkey work yonse fiatika nde kwata ma change so kuchimuna kwemba mungu kuteko Ministry of Labor kushe masekela maripiro
firstly mwalishiba amafundefo yabo ifundefo yabo number 1 protector wanchito mubonde bantu iwenga wasumina inenga na esa kukanya kutu antwana kuti ati ushefile kana rasa lya mumobe eri balanda contract number 2 kwaba ukwikala panshi na employer through the trade unions bapanga collective agreement kumeka shati ushechi chitibombapo chibomba munshirashi okay chile bomba munshire ine ushotu wabika pesa amalipiro mwasuminishanya nomba abalesumishanya ni banani babomfi no abengishenshi ubuteko tuzirungusa witness pantu Ministry of Labor teba union yawo ba Ministry of Labor teba ba Ministry of Labor bemina pakati kulanda ko bati uyu employer no you employee bamfwana ifo bamfwana ifo balechita wa kutuka mumusho bomfweni kulango ekishano kimaba mbewe panonga mwesa asumina tumakula for 2000 mwasaina na contract tatuliko mwata na contract asa mbewe uche contract usaina mwitemo mwebele ero patensi kushibiri mwasa na chifa ali contract defo kwa for 4p na chifa le pini cha ebo bamutafye tugesamula bambe bali mutafye kipoma ndo tumali tobeji ichipangana namba kwabe chintu chinde cyo mbishite very important and echi chintu tulanda twebe na Zambia tufure twachinja imitontonka Yesu ije twayimyeti ndalamba for example ya ichi pali mopani gefe bantu bandi ati mopani wasenda kubuteko wasenda nabantu bambe beso bokumbira umuntu wayimina ubuteko ewa alufyanya nombo ko bati chintu cyo maboko Yesu bena Zambia nifwe twarufyanya ulefa cyo maboko y'abanani ifwenga tatuchikwete niba nani bakachikwata ushamule muna cyabesa barakwata interest yako bati bakwate kufurisha abantu bwino besa nama contracts bari subinishanya outside y'abarefuka mu refa mu dollars imo kunisha refa da masisi echo tulekanye echo ikintu cyambanga mwari kwatira mwebene twalisambirira ko ifya kutimo kupera mwapere kimwe abantu mwabachetekera vice ngani bamupani we went through a lot of things bali landilo ko bati by 2021 baka bapali 800,000 tons per year production ama documents wali kwati umuntu asema pepa ukatika kushikwa tinaisa so nomba etu yale jojo mimi pokatika kushikwa tinaisa sisi panda munefunde so nomba ekuli kuzachinja pano pano no mwashi bati okay akakunyereka kana kachi tie tuchinje tie tuchikwate nomba wasango muta no jeti muchitefu because my abantu barale ko kujya pantu my elections abantu bambo kuchura pano ndo my elections
the idea may be good but wrong timing
okay what would have been the timing pantu muntunga waisana that wrong time kusa prepare okay right time
we are in a crucial year
yes
where everything is being politicized
yes but we must move away from that. That's my point, because politicizing doesn't put any person's food on the table. twaikara muno turina ndichisungura politics but abantu balinezana yo abantu tachaboneka bwino nga abantu bashara munchi abantu ni election no the elections will go because nangu ubuteko nga bwachinja chikashala chika no ubuteko chikashala ama decisions ubuteko bulepanga na mutakulipo if we continue so ukulanda tino because ni election so twalefa tule kati yo chitefe permanent by election ye tefe abantu baninga ngala usakama na abantu tefe wala imini na apaso ikano kulanda abantu ofere bachingirirwa whether pali election nangu tapali ichawa mukuche chintu chiyene kwe bati yimi godi wonse abale chitefe twayamba kulasenda pano pakati wagwesha amaka ku bantu mu buteko twagwesha amaka mube na Zambia not ama foreigners
so bakonfirmation mulesunda abafumo kwanda
effort
abakonfirmation mulesunda yacho famulelanda emkuchira ndimo nama conditions yana chinja kuchira ofuyali kuli baglengo
good now lekeni muno ndwera pali two things amafunde first ama conditions ya nomba nga kwaboneka omuntu lefat lesa abike mu bali ama conditions yarachinja which means kuleka kufanisha nokulipira abagofindera ngababo
imwe buteko mafumamo mapera
not kufumamo ifo tufetu washara na majority na mu pali 90% so kutwaso omuntu ati ndefo kubula mu 10% or 30% aisa investor umbi ati okay ndefo kusabika mwenda rama but if we still be the majority ngatwachinja ama rules ya employment ifo chaba twachinja ama rules ya kugombera then abantu they deserve to be paid para tuanda tomba pia nishikusa chisango ati okay aya ma rules twachinja abantu nomba bapere nomba ama rules nganja mwe tapali ushire nchito filafina ya kunchito no kufola na fiance filafina ushetu walachita separated in separate ways no because the first principle was to just secure to shabantu imyeo shabantu because you 15,000 mule for times 6 ni 90,000 abantu because umuntu shimai nule ingira pamugodi paja limo support abantu 6 limo 7 nabana besu na bambi so uyo muntu aliba important tufetu wamuchingirira tufetu wachingirira uyo mwewo wako nokuchingirira ubikalo wako ukulanda ati ababantu ofayo kupanga endala befuka nesa tukanda ta kai ngamwachire chile kentu chisale ero matuka kweli muchise abantu bakaya kwisa
mure bapera bina mandi mure bapera komba cha running in mind usumira nyinshi
efira
kwa kwichinja manga emuchira mwali babana
mwaje mufeta chanda bapesa bachilando kwa twalipanga ama mistakes kunu nomba kuchito like ama mistakes ya kunu because if it fiat tatu afititirule yo it is important kulanda tuasambirira effort warufiyenye
basubino ko bati mwali babana
nte kuna kayo mwamona pali no shita uteko libumbi bwati
yatabyuni muntu nipanga tapamya ndi aisa mkuntunguro ifo konferende kala panga tapamya
mwali bambewe limwe chichetekero fuchiba that's why msa ngati employee tobika kuma graduate tobika kuma changes nishi wage chimai tuwasa basa no twabika mulika bwino dembo kumulika bwino twali chinje emibere teko bati abantu bayambira ubikuba na first wise isa in the process not from the inception in the inception it was okay things were moving we started seeing things change but mwalishi ba effort chaba chimo filanga ba speed trap why bali mwe batinga mulya ku kitu mpemenda pa 8 abantu benda pa 140 babwera bamwikata ushabalireka abantu balato bamafundo bachibale itatu so if you netulanda kukweba if you achiteka tetuleko we can't speak about the past. It will not take us anywhere. It is the future that we are looking for, and the government has provided the right framework for the future. Ukweba tichibwere mumini wabena sana no ubwafya bwaba pi iwenga wananda eno chabu ipa umuntu fenga inkanda ya chinja nisaba mungeri tabepe tali corrupt tali nis enaba mungeri Joseph yaranda kumukokerera tufetu wachinje emibere umuntu lawe no wankande yamu yabala bepana bakufina bena ushokena mwira Zambia fe ubepa uwabuteko iseka tuma
some mistakes were made in the past, and you give this time around what you're doing is meant to benefit.
That is exactly the point. What is meant, because the control is you now. You are part of the control. That's a guarantee. You left the control. We are bringing you back to the control. And the control is that we left the control to other people. hoping that they will do the right thing. And they didn't do the right thing. So we are taking it back to make sure that the power goes back to the people of this country to run it. Because even whatever running, I've done inspections in all the mines, by the way. I have gone underground. When you go underground, you find Zambians. Zambians know how to. They had been running these mines. So why should we feel that they can't do it? It is power back to the Zambians. So long to go watch this tape. Maima akachero mwaino mwatantama yo tupere nuko abuko kama procedures. Kuba sungu mwaliko kama procedures. Yama blacks vaisa mwaliko mwaliko kama procedures. Let's follow the procedures and provide the right support. Imikodi abantu bali ba important no kopa build. Eva kule chalo. So eva kule chalo tubale kilise pali no shita pamoja ndo kutemwe indalama. Indalama shile bombela na kana chalo. So you do no, it might be wrong. Yes, it might be wrong, but you never better than me.
What assurance? What assurance can you give me as a Zambian, since I'm representing Zambians? So what assurance can you give me as a Zambian that this is indeed a good deal?
That people who don't learn from their history are condemned to repeat its mistakes. In other words, ukuchangufya that ngatatulesambirira kufyo fyakale fyakitike ero tuleba fyokweba ifyakale ando. It's okay, we can make the same mistakes. What are some of the mistakes we made in the past? The first one I want to make reference to is to say that when you have an asset as sensitive as Mopani or Fiafia Lidoansha, more is so they can and maintenance. Because what it does is that it affects when you put on care and maintenance, they are paid in this particular case, for example, 2 months or 3 months for each year saved. So let's say 5 years. 10 pin. What will happen is that Balamulipira 20 times 5, which is 100,000. No, but 100,000. Mamano Kabina Kungan. Shilesa nangu ni 10 pin but ya liba consistent ilesa fina yonse yanesa mbishawana aleikana. When you then say kabie tamba fyokusta business before long bibambina 1 year tipwe inshimpia sharpwa. Now ngachabefyo, government has a duty to make sure that its citizens are prospering and are doing well. So one of the things which is there for aspects, what guarantee can we give? Because of past mistakes we've made as a country, we've learned and said, when you have assets as precious as Mopani, you can't let it go under. Do everything you can to make sure that it works. Secondly, at the time of privatization, we wanted that our ZCCM minority stake 10%. Now, Ngamulimu company will be not 90%, you will get 10%. In 10%, the expectation is that Ababa Leisa, Bamuisa will come and pay taxes, that Bakashita employer want to besu, Bakalani Pinama dividends. Unfortunately, that model did not work as we thought it would. And so we've learned from that. And therefore, now the assurance we are giving is the fact that, first of all, the government is determined to make sure that there's a good board. Corporate governance is observed by their company to make sure that the board is able to supervise and make sure that the mining operations are not frustrated. Secondly, that we should have a management team that is able to deliver, to produce, because the more we produce right now, copper price is very high. And instead of if we to the percentage, maybe to the is this a good decision? We should in fact be capitalizing as a nation to be ramping up production and producing more copper. So that in this particular case, as we produce more, there are more jobs, and as there are more jobs, more taxes are paid, and our people stand to benefit. So the assurance I'm therefore giving is the fact that, first of all, the president himself, Dr. Edgar Lungu, has shown political will to actually say that there's no way he's going to neglect about copper belt over this issue. And what he wants this to succeed. It's an important point I'm raising, Mambewe, because if there's no political will, it can't happen. We are, in fact, where we are because of that political will shown to say that Ababantu, their lives must be protected. That is the number one why this thing will work. And then secondly, the corporate governance will be observed to make sure that in this particular case, there's a board in place to make sure that Malaysia doesn't pretend the process. And in that sense, you know, we want to even warn here that when we say that ZCCM has taken over, it's not a case of getting excited to say, you know what, that was ZCCM free for all. But you are Yakudia, why since government, I think they namona tap in Alaf, we want that we should be professional in the way we handle things and must make sure that the company
project expand Mopani wachipendwa nga 300 million US dollars ushena muchishibe cho ma plans chimwe tungo bati new expansion yabe yakutika mchoni project yatambile ba Glencore
enkwai iyo project batampile yakwe batukubikira ukuchita shift ukuchita sing kama shafts bali chita sing kama shafts yanga yatatu imwe icode mindola ibisynchronorium elo yimbi Henderson ikumufulira elo yambi ayabidi ali muno mukitu. Now the ayoma shafts ofo yafwa yala afu kuleta omukubo okufuma panshi kuleta pamulu kuchita process yala afu okutwala bashimaini panshi kuyabomba. But kabiri the same project qualina concentrator, synchronorium concentrator, which has been built here for 99%. Iyonga mwaya imona bambewe, it is a state of art facility. Yakwatu mwalole shokweba okay. Babikileshin pia because bali mwene potential ya bapo. Like twalikuwa umukuba waba mundoba mbewe. Imwena ine tukafwa, abe shikuru besu bachiri bakala bomba mwigotishi. Ema reserves yabaya kopa muno yengi aya kwebati bonse kwe bale abale mfano mbali bonse tukafwa still mukaba kopa mukaba cobalt mukaba gold kuli aya mines. And therefore what we are saying is the fact that we secure the future and make sure that these mines must continue running, and the biggest benefits must be for the Zambian. So, 300 million, you have to complete AMA projects. AMA projects, some of their different stages, like I said. So, AMA projects are supposed to make sure that to ramp up production. Last year, Mopani produced 34,000 tons over 2020. More 2020, what they said with AMA projects in the Gayapwa, but Glen Kwame, not before, mentioned that production will be ramped up to 160,000 tons per annum. So it's almost 5 times what we are producing now. So your 300 million muleofa ni opportunity to finish Yama projects that in Gayapwa. That means that now you are able to then ramp up production to take it from upwards 30,000 to about 150,000 per annum.
So the critics are saying 1.5 billion lupi yorukurusana lwakubati chalona kabiri chaiba munkongore twalisa kuna default kunumoku ero twakwachira kuna imbi inkongore ushe abakalipire shinkongore ni bana.
Please, it's important to sure, and first of all,
1.5 billion.
So what I want to explain first of all is that in asset Mopani, that is why it's important to what kaishit chintu. Nishinga kwati na nkongole shamsangwe. Inkongole yafuma kui. Ba
esho mkalipira muri 10 to 17 years.
First of all, it's important to separate that please Inkongole is not being added to Nkongole ya chalo. So tempia yabu teko ile yakuika la Ministry of Finance awe. Gandesh time operative, for example, company and na kwa takantemba. Akantemba kanatika ya Kongola na akakwate Nkongole. So Mopani as an asset, as a company, yalikuwa debt hiyo. So Nkongole is sitting with Mopani, and Mopani has got capacity to pay back Nkongole. Yeka. Why is it like that? First of all, gamwamona the reserves. Ama copper na cobalt na gold ya wapali mine. The copper which is ready for mining, yakweba kubula sekuchita mining, no kuchita produce, is valued roughly about $21 billion. Now, you're only ready to mine. before you talk about pantu mu geology balalanda pali measured, defined, balikwata na yambyama categories yakwe bati inferred. Now tatulelanda na pali awo yambyama category tulelanda pali ide yakwati bali kita drill bali kita confirm ati umukubopo uliti mwachita mine ni $21.3 billion, meaning that when you look at red kuyabula no kuchita mine uli 21.3 inkongole mulanda pali shinga 1.5. So 1.5 pali 21.3 lupio lu nono compare ikalipile, and that is why you find that even the way it 17 years. But there's an option. If, for example, twasanga a strategic partner yatwachilanda umuntu wako atilinda tale alafu okushita muri bika 30% na mka 40% stake, aisa for example that 2 billion adao ine ndefo okushita mo stake muri imai nkwate mona ile share. What that means is that you are able to get them pia no kubalipira 1.5 nishapwa no mlandu wapo nishwa Glencoe no kuyabaya even ile 10% babula na off-take agreement nishaba cancelled to Glencoe. But this asset is sitting with the Zambians, and in this particular case it is something that stands to benefit the Zambians.
Okay, but so according to you, some options are the best for the Zambian people.
It is the best because it's cheap to China in Zambia.
Wakazia abantu kuno mwa namna ndokubati mwalirufyanya sana kuno mwalirufyanya twalimo na abantu kufana kuri 4000 ama minus inch to sharpwa umana nikane ngachaka kuti ZCCM. These are some of the basic questions. Ngachaka kuti ZCCM yata papa face April balaba kubati ama X minus balaba kubati kutinga kwa kontrola kubati abantu abo kwesha kuba muba chinga basha
mwachofika chanda ba PS in terms of first of all expanding. Now let's expand mureya kuntashi, let's increase production and all that exponential should be created. So with expansion we are not going to see the inverse of getting more jobs. That is why it must be owned by Zambians, because you can against the profits that are coming. So mulesa mukobati abanomba ukushita expand nomba abantu ngabafeli bekupanga olupia ulwago tebachitife kula in fact kula bulesha ngabashaya pati 110 kula itu twalaka kama mashine makana abantu no mulesa mukobati ubute kula kwata kushabanga bafuma balaika wote shimu bute chumone abengwesa mukumunefe nato kungira mutenga aisanga mutenga wasa munati ya bushika chabana batwala nomba uli mubuteko first priority abantu elo kumfwa kai mwebo mlikala mwebo muli kusema critical questions ngechina chibi pashani yo walachi wa they want the fact bad deal so bad deal tell us the good deal ulani elo ujola the good deal wa na questions ndani number 1 aba bofi baraya number 2 ngawapela 100,000 bacha afu umuntu eshimayini ikamusunga for the next umuntu ayishiwo kungira komugodo wasa tikeka business everyone is more sisangati amakanta wonse bayashita amakanta elo baya parking up chimwe wonse baya business kuri client unga umu
bishatari kwa tabenga abenga tungura fie ama minds kuno muzana ama experts that has been the major crime.
That one is the getting that
has been the major crime.
Very, very important. Please, my book show kweba.
Do we have those experts?
We have experts in this
properly run the mines.
Yes, and that is why we are emphasizing that we need to support them. What you may not know, and this is important, from the time that Glencoe said Balea, from May up to today, Avena Zambia, Evalet Tarani, mine even right now, and they are doing a good job that I should commend them. These are trained people. Naramibukisha that which there is ZCCM. What is the program we have from 6? But ZCCM valichite training abantu abengi sana aba dotted mu fyalo fya pusana. And these people bambi bali bwela muno bambi babomba kumopandi bambi kabomba kumopandi. I'll give you a good example. Kansanshi is one of those mines which has really ramped up production to northwestern province. That mine is run by a Zambian. Now, this Zambian has worked not just with Zambia. Now, Musiano Fimbi, he is the CEO. Now, what I would like therefore is that this issue, looking down on Zambia, for me, I don't know where it's coming from. For me, Zambia, I can assure you, they are big assets. I can tell you, Kumari is one of those which is actually even ramping up production. If you are gold, you'll be surprised. I'm a Zambian, geologists, mining engineers. What I'm saying, therefore, is the fact that Paris skill yena. I'm a Zambian, you can't fault them. We have skilled and dedicated Zambians who are willing and ready. What was happening, please remember, in the example to the one who was the majority shareholder was Glencore. So they would be the ones to appoint the CEO, Baleta CEO, let's say from Australia, Baleta CEO from South Africa, or by African CEO. Okay. If you ask, as those that CEO was working, who was he using Funyomukuba? Was it Chabasungu? No, it was the same Zambians that were working. So they were 90%. Control shorts because no majority shareholder. But you never talk so means as the 90%. But to that if you are quick push 10%, down 10% is not good enough. We need to have a significant steps. Here at least Zambia match the penny.
All right.
Ndike pufe pa no
0965 891029 number mwinga mufia 0965 891029 tumatapo tumaka kwa china munge bishako ili kusho ili
lando shana chiramye ko kwebati ubu afya gifuye apa pe mwamu ndisa tupushita sungwa tushya kuti barani uyu waisa kuti arani ngamai ndisa tupushya makweshonza but ngamwina Zambia tulefo kuipusha
mabuteka munabwe kusha maba parents am shako rani ngamai
bantu mwamona te ifuti ba parents am wataka lesa musha majority shareholder bambe imangara mukwataka shopu mustishen sapato pa separe ustand terminal ingreso nani buteko ni mwe because wali mupera apa kuti trade so imani mwe ingishe nchito pantu nimwe mule bombera poni chipe chiyeno so ngandebo nyambo ko ingishe nchito pasa kwa mbewe pereni history ero mwampera nambo kuti pange every chitikana pape
tumfa na bantu bari kitu bari na already change mission kwa Barisha mkwani. Kaya mkwani bana nyama. Wabra mkip description wabra.
I think Balanda will Abraham and strong.
I think it's outstanding. If you outstanding, the reason we need them fine. Everybody and never Chinese. Then I never my labor was having the fish. So I go at you, my quite the white spice of party no you. The free outstanding Chinese.
I think Abraham and we are guided. What I'll tell you is the fact that we really want to make sure this thing is professionally run. Like Machumfa earlier, Twalikwatama gifted and talented people. Both CBU and University of Zambia are training mining experts in this country. And believe me, let's trust our professionals. They can help this country. And therefore, we will make sure that professionals run that company. And in this particular case, like you said, we just want professionalism.
Not Jamakadas.
What is critical, empire? So what is critical is the fact that, because I think what they are trying to avoid is a situation where Masanga Fiat Ubuntu, Taishmaro Kustarani Chintu, Mayaba Vatican movie. Will be professional.
Yeah, but precious.
Yeah,
Okay. No, thank you very much. All right, thank you. 0965891029. We are talking about the issue of Mopani here, and of course, we call in and make sure you stick to what we're looking at. That's marvelous. 0965891029 and I'm going to the here. Parishan Koi. Banyaban Koi. Bajon Kitway. Empire Bajon. Empire. Okay. 0965891029. Today I'm going to Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Mines. I'm going to Baraska Festival, one of them, what was getting up on one day. I shall go. I'm going to Shmala, Mirique. I'm going to Shmala.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much. Which must come by
okay, number one, first Rambila Shmala. Now we should write him. Up here, Pang, she was the election. Babu Kilefi. So, number much as swap. If we pas non to the taking place professionals. tuiramona ma politics apa shi ebu afya tukwata wasa muna kusema politics so PF na bafika nga yo wala step ichi because twatana ufire walande ku winga chita different wevutukira tina mufirwa okay mwafirwa inenga na ndipo kuti nasuminisha abantu bagwerera pesa kumayanda kuti nasuminisha ati bagwere kumayanda so that nayamba okusa review so that uwikalo wa muntu emufire wa protected number 1 echo papangire tema elections yo ama elections yaisangire mufie bushe tuleke kuko kwa abantu pamulando ama elections nama ni stishi take overere take campaign gimmick kirombo kusha campaign gimmick so okay ndiye kusha question utamule yasu kuti mwachita shani ngachali ni mwenga take campaign
bafe imata ya mopani bushe abatampire niba government bali for sender or not to give you an idea if we're from Kumines but Glencoe is trying to assure that in fact that's why they pumped in a lot of money to do new shafts because they're going to ramp up production. No, but it's like muchupo. Ero muntu aisabu kafele chinese. Therefore, you will not issue for Quila. Ata we need for. Now, in this particular case, in the case of Pani, the rolling to Peleni, some Puleni, Mbale Pelena, Van to buy Mayan. Now, this happened last year. Now, it's not there for a case like Janashima. I think more 2021 to a land of Palimopani, Tia Yavan to a campaign. Ilias for the attempt is that we knowledge the control, we never Glencoe. Now, it's important to inform Mama Zambians. This decision by Glencoe by Pangi, Temuzambia Wake. Now, Mukongo, now Kumbi Kuma South America, Kobaba. They made a strategic decision at the group level at Bala Isala, Bala Isala, and one of those they said Bala Isala was Mopani. So it's a situation where they make a decision more board meetings, but that decision affects Zambians. And so what is important therefore is that it is wrong for people to give the impression that government is trying to use this as politics. Because each chitika chilling Amalwele Terasa when they come.
la scuola, la question chipsha wakazere wale kesha ushe uchikunga cha uchikunga kwa spectrum ushe tuana mwana kwa vintu seneko ifishale Glencoe okobati apa miners na bena kacheko hey kaiko katuntu kuchira bayo njoka ko tutako revise nibo mbere ngiyo bari bombera mu Glencoe bakama ko kushimuna kubati mwe mumwe bakwata ama shares ayengi mumwe batishita kichoze chile nakane chimopani chonse
ba mbewe mine yonse kwambu kulipira kuba profitable number 1 ifo chaba pesa kuba profitable yo number 2 ngasifuna chilanda that iligo yama conditions tetu teko kulande because bakekala price ba negotiate ngana amo kulanda bayo mtabampanya baranda tinga ibo bapiyesi mamba shano kan pamba conditions zo cha negotiate because amafunde yali bakuchingirira kwebati they have the right to negotiate bantu bale chiba kufiti ya perform mine kale cha perform bwino basa increase demura kwali ama collective agreement ya chiyo basa increase ama salaries so effort bana fiena So in terms of Wikaro, yes, our union are need, and they've done a very good job because our union, everybody is going to see it. The boys to Omanakapi to are facing our green number change to Zambia. Mwebe na Zambia, yes. Teba kade bakana ninga chija tefe yo. Definitely nanda ba mangalo son. Ba musonda okuchimba ba musonda ngamule ufa. Nina su amashu mwalanda na yasenda kwati yani na pele na kupeleka.
Kanjtai ba mlenga na mwe kuri mwe. Ushe tukamana ko ukuchinjo kuri konse mu areas umulema mankane. Umulema mines. Kamaka mu panic of mines. Uteko wasenda. Ushe tukamana ko kitu yatambo kuchinja ko mines matambo sekelela.
Yes, and I want to put
And
beyond
again,
that,
is this a good deal for Zambia?
it is a good deal for Zambia. Please, I want you to remember that right now, ngapali ba category abantu abayibishana ma abachita business na mupani. Abena Zambia abakwata ama company bakwatoto ntemba. People have been complaining about business. This is a good thing for us because no, you have a situation where the process will continue in terms of making sure that people are getting contracts professionally, but we need to make sure as many Zambians as possible get to do the work, but also that AMA workers, they will continue to work, they will continue to enjoy their conditions of service, and like what's under PS, they'll be able to negotiate even for better conditions. But what is much more is the fact that Ichichintu is good because there will be production will be ramped up. As it will be increased in production, what will happen is that we are going to see more jobs created, we're going to see more taxes paid, and what this will do is that the economic well-being of Copper Belt, things will only get better. So I want to assure Avena Zambia from Copper Belt that this is a good thing. Me, I'll tell you, I am an office speaker. Me, I can go, I can retire comfortably. No, this is a good decision the government has made because it will make sure that continue. And like I said, including Aveshkulu Bandi, they'll still be mining mining because of the good decision like this one, which has been made.
All right, Mr. Mlenga, and of course, it's been a pleasure having you on radio. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, of course, here we end this program. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, for participating. Till then, bye for now. Why? Thank you very much.
You are very good at your job.
Huh?
You are very good.
No,
at
it's
your
you. You are very good at your job.
I hope Palakupina will. But otherwise,